Is the dollar yen about to rally 400 pips? I have a step-by-step trade plan for you in this video. We're going to talk key levels, we're going to talk TPO levels, also targets, as well as the latest on the DXY and even on the Japanese yen index. So you'll have a comprehensive trade plan by the end of this video. Hey everyone, Justin Bennett here, founder of Daily Price Action, forex trader for the last 17 years, and I'm making videos like this every single day, so be sure to follow along. Now, looking at the dollar yen daily time frame. So obviously very sideways market here for the past few weeks. So ever since back here in, let's see, early August, okay, the market dropped back below this 148.70 area. And since that time, the dollar yen has been pretty uneventful. So we've had a resistance up here. We've had support down here in this area, with this lower wick down here being obviously the bottom of that range. And since that time, we have seen a decent rally here over the past couple of weeks. Now, the dollar yen is breaking out here following a 2-month consolidation period. So first of all, expect this to be pretty aggressive like we're seeing so far today. Now, if you saw yesterday's video on the Euro USD, okay, let's flip to this real quick. I do want to cover it quickly, just because what I talked about there in that video was the fact that the Euro could be closing below here, and this could be an end to the rally that we've seen all year. Now, that might seem dramatic at this point, but so far we are seeing a decent drop here this week. And you can also see where today's high is right off of that level that it did break below yesterday. Okay, so far, so good here for the dollar. Okay. So looking at the USD JPY now, this is an aggressive breakout so far, and I don't expect this to change. I think that after 2 months of consolidation, we're likely to see this market continue higher pretty aggressively. Now, let's talk targets, because first of all, the most obvious area is going to be this one up here around 150, 120. So you can see that back here, we do have a couple of highs off of this level. Before that, it was support. So this is going to be our key level. Now, interestingly enough, this rally back here didn't quite test that level, which tells me that there is going to be some liquidity up here in this area, okay? Unfinished business, as I often call it. Now, support is going to come in down here at 148.70. However, like I said, this is so far a pretty aggressive rally, and that's no surprise following 2 months of consolidation here. Okay, so following this kind of consolidation, typically when you get the market breaking out, if this is going to hold, then it's probably going to be pretty aggressive. You're not going to see many deep pullbacks here within this market. And really, if you did see that, it could start to look like this back here. Okay, so really you don't want to see the market aggressively pull back toward this level if you're looking to buy. You want to see very shallow pullbacks along the way. Okay. So, look no further than like this rally back here, right? Some pretty shallow pullbacks along this rally up there toward resistance. So that's first and foremost. Okay, the market is breaking out aggressively. I don't think we're going to see an aggressive, deep pullback here. If we do, then that could be a sign that this is a failed breakout. Now, let's talk targets here for the dollar yen, because obviously 51.20 is going to be an obvious area. You've got this high back here. However, I love using time price opportunity. This is an indicator that I recently fell in love with. I've known about it for a long time, but I really haven't used it too much until recently over the past 6 months or so. Now, looking at this drop back here. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to turn off the blocks because I don't want to confuse you guys. We're not really focusing on that too much here today. What I want to focus on is this drop back here on the 30-minute time frame for the dollar yen. So right back here on August 1st, we saw the US dollar sell off aggressively. So like we talk about a lot on this channel, we had consolidation back here from the dollar yen. You can see the low back here, this low through here. We had that expansion point. This expansion point right here, you see this blue level that shows up right above 150.2. So this right here is a single print. Now, single prints like this tend to become what are called magnets for a market or targets, just because this is an imbalance in the market. This was an imbalance between buyers and sellers, clearly, because we had the market punching through support aggressively and it never returned to this area. Okay, now here's the challenge though with this is that if we move over here, you can see where this is our imbalance up here. And you can also see too, today, so far here on Thursday, we are carving some side imbalances as well. And that's because of this aggressiveness that we're seeing so far from the dollar yen. So you can also use these areas as key support on the way up. So let's say, for example, that today does give us a pullback. Well, looking at this here, you can see that this area right through here is going to be your first support level. This down here is your second support level, which again is that expansion point out of this consolidation. All right. So like I said, shallow pullbacks. If we see a pullback into here, this probably becomes support. We probably see a continuation up toward this level. Now I'm going to mark all these out so we have a complete trade plan by the end of this video. So bear with me. This is not going to be the most polished video out there, but I do want to give you a complete trade plan by the end of this video. So by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to approach this market. Now, obviously, it's never financial advice, but this is going to give you a trade plan in the sense that if we get the move higher, then these are going to be your targets. And if we obviously get the failed breakout, then we'll also talk about that. Okay, so no stone left unturned here for the dollar yen. Okay, so let's take a look here. Let's turn this off actually and move out here toward the 4 hour. So really right now, guys, for the dollar yen, this is what you're looking at. You have support down here at these two levels, which we now can see over here, 148.97, 149.52. Now you've also got, like I said, this single print from this drop back here around 150.23. So again, support down here, you've got resistance up here, okay? So that's first and foremost. We're into a new range here for the dollar yen. As long as we close the day above these highs back here, then we now have this new range to play with. Now, looking longer term, okay, this is good, obviously, if you're more of a scalper or a short-term trader, but let's say that you're a swing trader on the high time frames, right? How would you approach this? So there are some really nice levels on the dollar yen here, despite the fact that it has been a very choppy and sideways market over the past few months. There are some really nice levels to work with here, right? You can see back here during this drop, we have some really nice pivots in the market. We've got this high back here. We've got this area through here that we talked about. So there are some nice levels to play. Now, looking at time price opportunity, let's see what else we can see back here. So going back to the 30-minute time frame, this is kind of the industry standard for TPO, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in learning more about TPO and also seeing my trades and just learning more about how I trade and also real-time discussions as well as the course, be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off lifetime access to our Discord group. So if we go all the way back here, right? So all the way back here in early 2025, you can see that we do have these single prints up here in this area around 157.50. Now, I'm going to mark this off just because that is a single print or area of single prints. Although I would be surprised if we get up here over the next few weeks. That would be a very aggressive rally. But let's take a look now at some of these other areas. So these are what are called poor highs right back here, these purple lines that you see here on TPO. So we have poor highs off of these January 28th and 29th highs back here, right around 155.80. Now, furthermore, we also have another one. Okay, I'm going to copy this level over and move it down here off of this area. Okay, so what's interesting about this is let's turn this off again to clean things up a little bit and move back to a daily time frame. So what's interesting here is that you can see that this level up here, 151.44. What is interesting here is that we have this poor low back here. Okay, or actually in this case, it was a poor high off of this candle. You have these highs right back here as resistance. You have this high that didn't test that resistance. So what we're looking at here is this potentially also being a magnet for the dollar yen. So you've got this target up here. Now, from this area, we're likely to see a pullback. Okay, we're likely to see a pullback here from the dollar yen. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, guys, because when I'm developing a trade plan, I never like to sit here and think that I know what's going to happen next or plan too far ahead just because we don't know what's going to happen. But I also think it's important to have an idea of the key levels in play so that you know when you get certain price action or a certain movement within a range, you kind of know what to expect or at least what is the most likely outcome. Okay, so what we could see here from the dollar yen is, potentially move up here, test these areas, and then from here we get some range bound price action to come back here and clean up single prints like this. Okay, so that is one scenario. Now, let's look even longer term, right? Longer term meaning over the next few weeks. Where could this market be going? Well, if we look at these lows going back to April, we have clearly a trend line, higher lows off of this area. One thing I like to do is I like to draw trend lines from the closing price of high time frames, because if you draw a trend line off of the low, the very low down here, the issue with this is that you don't get what I like to call the most conservative placement. In other words, this level right here, notice how the slope on this is a little bit steeper than if you draw from the closing price down here. So this right here, in my opinion, is the better placement. This one here is the more conservative placement for this trend line. Now, another little trick here that you can do is anytime you see a trend line like this, a pretty well-defined trend line off of these lows, what you can do is you can actually take this level and see if there's actually a channel in play, because markets love symmetry. And what that means is that a lot of times you'll get equidistant channels forming in a market. And what you'll notice here is that these two highs up here are very close to what could be an equidistant channel here for the dollar yen. So you've got these lows down here, right, off of this trend line. And then if we draw a level up here, a parallel level off of those highs, you can see that is pretty clean. So looking longer term for the dollar yen, again, we're in a new range here today. So as long as we close above this area around 148.7, then we're looking at this new range. Okay, so you've got targets up here in this area, you've got support down here at these levels. So this is your new range. Now within this range, if we do get a pullback over the coming days and weeks, then what we could see here is potentially something like this. And again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, guys, because I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. But just for illustration purposes, what we could see here, if we get a little, slight pullback into this area, potentially targeting this poor high up here, right around 151.4, and then potentially there's some range price action. Now we don't have to get this, but if we were to get something like this, then that could be appealing for that potential push up here into the top of this channel. So remember, this is the top of that channel, that equidistant channel, using the lows down here since April. Okay, now obviously this could be a little bit different. We could see the market, pull back down here in this area first and then just break out above this, right, and give us something like that. But either way, I do think the top of this channel could be coming into play here over the coming weeks, which if we take a look here from current levels, this level up here comes in about 400 pips or even, just above that from those current levels. Okay, now lastly, before we move on here and talk about the DXY quickly, look back here at these candles, right? This candle right here, this very aggressive move up, very aggressive sell-off. So if I zoom in here, what you'll notice is that nothing shows up on TPO on a 30-minute time frame. However, anytime you have a large candle like this red one right here in a very shallow retrace, you can believe that this is going to be an imbalance for a market. And what's interesting about that is that if you look over here, right, again, the dollar yen never retraced into that area. And if you look here and we just drag, let's say, a rectangle from this area over here, that candle we just looked at, and you drag a level over here, this is your imbalance. Okay, and that imbalance lines up potentially up here at the top of that channel. So all of this is kind of lining up, guys, in my opinion, to where as long as we stay above 148.7, then we have that potential for the move into the 151 area, and then potentially even up toward 153, 154 over the coming weeks. Now, obviously, if this fails and the dollar yen closes back below areas like this, back below all these highs, then of course we're range bound, right? And this becomes a failed breakout, and you're looking at that push down here into the 147 area. All right, so let's take a look now at the DXY, which we're getting a big move here this week off of the 2011 channel support. So like we've talked about now for weeks, you have these lows going back to 2011, creating this equidistant channel. And what I mentioned last week before FOMC, actually, I said that you had to be really careful getting bearish on the US dollar down here at 96.6. In fact, I was getting bullish on this market as it came into this area. We swept the bottom of this here, took out those poor lows from back here in this area. And then of course, we're getting the break back above 97.7. So right now, guys, this is a bullish looking market. Like I said in yesterday's video, basically, if you take everything off of this chart and just look at it like this, you've got the lows, range lows down here, and you've got range highs up here. Now you've obviously got a mid-range through here as well off of all of these highs. This is going to be resistance. Okay, so you've got to keep that in mind here for the US dollar, that it is going to be coming into some resistance here. And so for the dollar yen, that could equal a pullback into those single prints, those sell side single prints that we looked at. Okay, so right now, guys, all in all, it is looking pretty bullish here for the DXY. However, again, you've got these highs right back here around 98.6, and then you've also got the top of this channel as well, just above that around 99. All right, so keep that in mind. This market is starting to look more bullish, but it is coming into a resistance area here over the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay, and lastly, let's round it out here looking at the Japanese yen index. I know this video is getting a little bit long, guys, but like I said, I wanted to provide you with a complete trading plan for the dollar yen. So looking at the JPY basket of currencies, this is the trend line that we talked about way back when. It seems like forever ago. This was back in May and June that we talked about this. And what I was watching here was this trend line off of these highs. So going all the way back here to 2020, you can see that we have a very well-defined trend line off of these levels. Now, this was being respected on a weekly closing basis. And what you'll notice is that back here, right, what I was looking for was for this to fail. I was looking for the market to fail in this area. And the reason I was looking for that is because it was having trouble getting off of support. It closed above back here on this candle. You can see we retested support, came up, came back, retested support again. This right here, these lower highs into this level did look relatively bearish for the Japanese yen. And sure enough, we got the close below here. Now, since that time, it has been a difficult market to trade. It's been very sideways here. But you can see where we're once again pushing on the lows, still carving those lower highs. So in my opinion, this still looks pretty bearish here for the Japanese yen. And so what that means is that something like the dollar yen, that could push the market higher, right? Because this is the Japanese yen index or basket of currencies. So looking at this market, and this could aid you a little bit in trading the dollar yen, we have obviously the low back here. All right, so this is going to be your key support area through here. And then we've also got this level right down here, obviously, this very low down here from July. So first of all, you have this low down here. My bet is this is probably going to line up with the dollar yen hitting this area up here. Okay, so right around 151, maybe just above that mark, because they do move inversely. So that's what to watch here. But ultimately, like I said, months ago, I think that this right here, this failure to hold above this trend line from this market does look bearish. And so I do think, even though we're likely to see a bounce from this low down here, right, I do think ultimately we probably see this market continue lower over the coming months. All right, guys, so that's it for today's video. Subscribe to the channel if this helped. Be sure to hit that like button and also join us in VIP Discord. Check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off. Trade well. I will talk to you again tomorrow. So until then, enjoy some of these new movements that we're seeing out here in the markets following weeks and weeks of consolidation.